Hi, I'm Daniel, and today I want to show you how I'm deploying LangChain into Cloud Function. And why do I need to deploy LangChain into Cloud Function? So basically, if you love to play with LLMs or create new product out of it, text generative AI product, the most easiest place to do it right now, if you're doing it with Python, is probably on Colab. That's like the most first go-to that you will try to, or your own local environment, developer environment. But if you want to move a little bit forward and start sharing stuff with your colleagues or even show demos to your customers, well, Colab is not a solution. You need to have some kind of environment that will be secure enough, that will protect your code and won't fail you when you're not there to run the code. Okay, so I found Cloud Function to be just the perfect one. So first, let me just explain to you why I choose those two, and then we dive into the code. Okay, why LangChain? LangChain is a framework that allows you to develop really fast LLM application. Basically, what they did over there is they created a lot of different modulars that conceptually work inside the text generative AI solutions. Okay, so you have modules that know how to connect to different type of models. You have modules that know how to connect to different types of vector database. You have you understand where I'm going with it. And basically you just need to choose which one you want to work and just really quickly set up the application that you want to try. But if you want to change one of them, it's very easy. So if I just work, I don't know, with GPT-4 by OpenAI and I want to change it to Palm 2 by Google, I don't need to change a lot of code. I just need to change 1 or 2 lines because the modules that wrap those APIs is already set in the same method. So just replacing them and rerun my code and everything is done. So it helped me to try very fast different type of solutions and figure out what's the best that I need for my need, for my problem, for my customers or whatever. Also, LangChain have a very strong community. So if you're using the community, you can learn very fast about how things moving. And we are in a very fast industry. So LLMs are just changing like every 2 weeks. We have something new inside the industry. We have different approach, different studies, and we want to do it, and we want to do it very fast. So that's why the community is very helpful over here. Sometimes it's a little bit of a problem too. I will explain that a little bit later in the video, but let's move to Cloud Function. So why Cloud Function? Well, although I really enjoy setting up and configuring servers, I don't like to do it. I want to focus only on the problem that I'm facing, only on the solution, only writing the code for what I need. I don't want to start dealing with security, SSLs, making sure that everything is setting up correctly, and all that stuff. I want to just deploy my code and make sure that it's running completely. The other advantages of Cloud Function, is that besides that it's very easy to deploy, sometimes you can do a very rapid prototyping with it. So I will show you today, I'm not even going to use my local environment. I'm going to do everything on their console. I'm not even going to use any command line. Everything with a mouse and a keyboard, and that's it. Just as simple as that. So basically I was sometimes in a case that there was some kind of a problem and I was out of my environment, my developer environment. I was actually on my phone. And I went inside and changed the code and fixed stuff. So it's that easy to maintain and to deploy. Of course, you're getting security, you're getting scalability. Everything is already up there. You can go from 0 to production almost in no time. And the beauty of all of it is that you pay as you use. So if you're not paying, if you're not using it much, you're not going to pay. And basically, I think most of the work that I'm doing, I'm under the threshold of Google, so I'm not paying at all. And I can always set like a balance of how much money I want to spend in a day or a month or whatever, but when I'm just doing the developing, I never reach that. And what I really like about Cloud Function is the fact that it's event-driven architecture. So basically, this is like a serverless that is very small unit. I can put as much as I want over there. And they're all firing up when the right trigger arrives, and I have different options to trigger them. So I can probably connect them I'm connecting them to a lot of different infrastructure inside it. And I will show you in the end of the video how I'm planning to do something pretty awesome with that. Okay, let's start. First of all, we want to go to the console of the Google Cloud platform, and we want to create a new project. Now, when you're creating your first project, you find out that you will have like a different form over here and different question. That's fine, but you will understand pretty quickly how to do it. And if you have some problem over there, there's plenty of tutorials how to just start with Google Cloud. I'm assuming you have like a basic understanding how things working there. So I don't care about the project name. I'm going to connect it to my billing account, and that's it. So let's just get into the new project that we built. And in this new project, we want to go to Cloud Function. Okay, and create the first function. Now, when you're creating a new function, you have to enable some of the APIs of the cloud, the billing, the function, logging, pub/sub. Even if we're not going to use them, they still need to be enabled. So we're just following his order and enabling everything. It might take a few seconds to do that. And we got a first function. So in order to configure it, we need first of all to make sure that we are on the second generation of the environments, and we can give it a name. I would just call it function py, so we'll know that this is on Python. The region, I'm leaving it the same region, but if you want a different region, you can set it over here. And then what's going to be the trigger? So I'm going to use HTTP as triggers, but I don't want to restrict it to authorization for this video. That's it. So I'm going to allow anyone to approach it. Once I finish the recording, I'm going to delete it anyway. But if you're doing it for your own project, you need to make a decision over here. If you want to leave it open, remember it's open and you need to think about it. I prefer always to have some kind of authentication, but yeah, sometimes, you know, just saving time, open it for everyone and then make sure that you're closing it on time. That's it. The rest of the stuff over here, usually when I'm creating function, I don't need to configure it, but now because I'm using LLM, I know I will probably gonna need a little bit more of a memory, so I will pop this up. And also because I'm using some others endpoint APIs, I might want to have a bigger timeout just in case. But once you're playing with all of that, you will figure out what you need. If you need any type of environment variable, that's the place to put them over there. But for what we're creating today, I don't need any of them. So here I need to enable another API, fine. And now we're moving to the code. So in this environment, we can write any code we want to deploy. We don't have to do it from here. We can deploy for our local developer environment, but just for this practice, I promise you everything I'm going to do is I'm going to do it for the console, including the code. So once I select, once I get over here, you can see that the code over here is JavaScript and I promised you Python. So let's change the runtime. Instead of running Node.js, we're going to run Python, and you can choose which version we want. And the second thing I like to do is I like to change the name of the endpoint, the entry point, sorry. You don't really have to change it because basically all you need to make sure is that this entry point and the function name over here are the same, but I like to make it something that makes sense to me, and especially if I have a lot of different cloud function, I want to know which one of them what are they doing. So in this case, we're just going to do some kind of a chat. So I will write chat over here, and you must replace it also over here. Great. I'm going to leave it as is, just the first basic template that they gave me, and hit deploy. So the first deploy might take a little bit more time because it had to also create the Cloud Run. So all Cloud Function is actually hosting inside Cloud Run, but we don't need to deal with the Cloud Run at all. We can, but we don't have to. So I will use the magic of editing and just jump us to the end of this deployment. Okay, the function is deployed, and we actually have a link over here, URL to the endpoint. And if I click it, I will get hello world as expected. That's what the code should do. And if I will change over here to name equal Daniel, I will get hello Daniel. Surprise, everything is working. Great. Now let's move to the second part. We want to add LangChain into the mix. Cool. So in order to add LangChain, first of all, we need to add more library. So I'm going over here, I'm just clicking edit in here, and I can edit the code. If you also want to edit the configuration of the environment, you have to click edit on the top over here, but I just need to update the code, so that's where I'm going. There are two libraries that I want to add over here. The first one is LangChain, of course, and the second one is Google Cloud AI platform. So I'm adding the Google Cloud AI platform so I will have quick access to Vertex AI, and I don't need to do any certification, authentication or whatever. It's already inside my project, which is fine. And LangChain, of course, I think because I want to use LangChain. Now, why do I write the version of the library over here in LangChain? So this is a tip for me about how to avoid rapid development of LangChain. So basically, if I will go to GitHub, let's go to GitHub and let's just jump into LangChain. Great. What you will see over here, okay, they already changed it. So you can see over here that they have like 339 RC0 that was released 11 hours ago. Let's just go to all the previous releases. So that was released 11 hours ago. The one before that was 2 days ago. The one before that was 3 days ago. The one before that was 5 days ago, and so on and so on. Basically, because it's a huge community and because the field change all the time and new stuff coming in and new bugs were found, I found days that they actually deploying more than one version a day, which is crazy. And it happened to me before that I was doing some minor changes in my code, like just changing the prompt, deploying it, and then an error occurred. Because every time we're deploying something on Cloud Function, he rebuilt the entire environment, including the latest and greatest version, if we just told him to get the latest and greatest version. So this is why when I'm working with LangChain and also some other libraries, I prefer to have the exactly version that right now I'm working with and stick it there. And whenever I'm doing developing, I'm trying to raise the version, but when I'm on production or on staging, I don't need to touch it, and I'm sure that at least I won't get any changes for other developers that I don't even connect to them. Okay, so that's what I'm doing it over here. Let's move to the main, and on the main, I just want to do some cleanup. So basically, I don't need these things over here. And frankly, there is a short and even better way just to do all this part over here, right? And I'm definitely not going to need a name over here. I want to get a question. So let me just copy a short version of this. It's the same principle as before. I'm still looking for both different request option, but I'm just getting the question out of it, not the name. So I definitely want to return something that would probably going to be an answer, but let's first define what we have over here. So I probably want to import the Vertex AI inside LangChain. So it's from langchain.llms import Vertex AI. Great. And now let's just define the first LLM. So it'd be LLM equal Vertex AI. That's it. That's all the code I need to do in order to get access to that model. And the default one is text Bison, and it's more than enough for what I need. Over here, the last thing that we want to do is to get the answer, right? So we want answer to be LLM and question. Fine. That's all the code we need in order to start, basically. Okay, now I'm going to hit deploy, but I promise you this deploy is going to fail. Okay, so why am I doing that? I really love YouTube videos, tutorial YouTube videos that show how everything is working perfectly. But in life, it never is perfectly. Well, things change through time since the recording of the tutorial and until I'm watching it. Sometimes things just went wrong and stuff happened. So I want to also to show you what happened when things are not working smoothly and how I can find it in Cloud Function. So let's just jump to the end of this deployment and I will show you. Okay, so the building was ending successfully, but it couldn't deploy it on Cloud Run. And let's try to see what's the reason over here. And if you can understand this, then you're a genius. I cannot understand this error code. Sometimes I do get error code over here that I can understand. Most of the time, I really don't know what they're talking about. But for that, we actually have a log. So we can go to the logs from here, or I can just ask him to view logs. And when I'm looking at the logs of the function, let's just jump to now. Yeah, we're getting all the errors over here. And if I will look at the errors, I will probably get to this line that says that Vertex AI API was not being used in this project. And then I remember, oh, I didn't enable the APIs of Vertex AI. So let's do that. Basically, I can do it from the shell command line, but I promise you, no command line over here. So let's go to, yeah, I need to dismiss this. Vertex AI. And I'm just going to enable the recommended API. Sorry for that. Okay, all the API were embedded and we don't need the Vertex AI anymore. So let's go back over here and let's edit the code. And this is an important part. When I click edit over here, look what I'm getting. I'm getting the old code, not the new one, because every time you're failing deploying new code in Cloud Function, you will get the last successful deployment as a default. And sometimes I'm getting wrong over here and I'm showing that I'm in my update code and I just need to fix a bug and I can't find the last changes. So you have to remember, when after a fail of deploying, you have to go over here and get the last failed deployment. By the way, if you're doing it just deploying from your code on your environment, you don't need to do that because your code is always to be the last one that you work with. But over here, we do need to do that. And now I can change the code. Basically, I don't need to change the code because the problem wasn't in the code. So let's just save and redeploy. Okay, the function deployed successfully. So let's go back to the page over here and we need to change the end of it. So instead of name Daniel, we want to have question equal where is London? And yeah, I asked a question and I got a reply from the LLM with the answer. So that's like the basic thing that we wanted to get over here, right? Cool. So we finished all of that, we fixed it, and I just wanted to show you the differences between the Python version and the Node.js version. Basically, it's as simple as that. So if you are working on the Node.js version, just look at the code over here, pause the video, just see the differences, but it's practically the same. And the second thing you need to also see is the environment. So in Python, you already saw what I put over there. This is how I'm actually doing it on the Node.js. That's it. Moving on. I wanted to show you how I can actually use the benefit of LangChain to create something a little bit more complicated. I want to actually design my own prompt so it won't be like an open question, but it will be something specifically that I want to get out of the LLM. So let's do that. Going back to my code over here, going back to edit. This time I want to add the prompt template from LangChain. Okay. And I want to create some kind of a prompt. So let's just start with the template. And let's say template equal write song about the color, and now I want to add a color over here. Okay, so you can understand where I'm going with it, and I want the song, that's the answer that I want to get back from the LLM. And now I need to define the prompt. So the prompt going to be the prompt, and now I need from template, and it will be the template that I already created. Cool. Next, I need to create a chain. A chain will be the module that will hold inside of it the prompt and the LLM and know how to combine it. So it's very, very simple. I'm just saying chain equal, so chain equal prompt and LLM. Cool. Now I have a change, and now instead of just calling the LLM, I want to invoke the chain. So it's chain dot invoke, and I need to put the question over here. Actually, it's a color, right? We ask in the template to receive a color. So let me just define this color, and I can probably change the question to color over here, but let's just leave it as is so I don't have to change the endpoint also. So that's this, and let's close it, and I think we're done over here. So let's deploy and see if it's working. Okay, the function is ready. Let's go to the endpoint and change the question to be, it's not a question anymore, it's a color. So let's just get red. That's the color I want. And in return, I got a song about the color red. I won't read the song, but yeah, you can get it. And let's just try with a different color. Blue. Sure, I got a new songs over here with the color blue. Cool, so we did a chain over here. Last thing before we finish with it, let's try to change the model. So right now we're using text Bison, but we can, because that's the default, but in LangChain we can change this default. So if I will go over here and rewrite model name equal, oh, it's not writing because it's not, I'm not on edit. Edit. Model name equal code Bison. That's what we want to work. So text Bison is supposed to return text to our query. Code Bison is more generative of code. So it's better on creating new code, and I can show you actually how we can write code with it. So I chose it over here. Basically, I can also change the temperature. So the default temperature, if I recall right, it's 0.7 in LangChains, but let's just make it something like 0.3. I don't want him to be that creative about creating code. The rest can be the same. The only thing I do need to change, it's the template of the prompt. So instead of write a song, write a JS functions that return the color, and over here I want to have code. That's will be, and so now let's save and redeploy it. Okay, the function is deployed. Let's go to the endpoint over here. I don't need to change the color, it's still blue, but now I got a JSON function that returned the color blue. Okay, so it's worked. Not that sophisticated code, but it still works, and I could probably ask it for something a little bit more sophisticated or interesting. Okay, fine, let's move on. So we did change a model inside Vertex AI, but actually we can easily swap our LLM to some other LLM provider, OpenAI, Anthropic, whatever. I'm going to show you how to do it over here. Just I'm going to change it to Vertex AI Model Garden. If you don't know Model Garden, please go and learn about it. It's an amazing place. You have different types of models. Some of them are open source, some of them belong to others. You can get foundation models, you can fine-tune your own models, and you also have solution models already built inside of that, and you can just use them. So what do I need to change in my code in order to use models from Model Garden? Basically, as you can see over here, I just need to swap the library that I'm importing from LangChain. Instead of Vertex AI, it's Vertex AI Model Garden. And instead of calling the LLM with Vertex AI, I'm just calling Vertex AI Model Garden, and I need to put the project ID and the endpoint ID. That's, if you know how to create models over there, you already know about that. And that's it. I don't need to touch the rest of the code. Now I have a new model that it run with. And that's the basic thing what I really, really like a LangChain. Okay, moving on. I did talk about the fact that is a very event-driven cloud function. and I want to use it. I'm not going to show that on this video. I'm going to create a series of videos that shows you why I'm always going, first of all, to Cloud Function for this type of solution, and how I can take the power of cloud platform to create product with zero effort. So what I'm planning to do in this series of video is actually use Firebase as my platform. And I'm going to create something that looks like ChatGPT, Brad, whatever, all of those AI chat that we're playing now, that we have for our disposals from other company. I want to create my own one so I can actually tweak it and change it for my own needs. I do want to have this nice chat history that we always see on the side. I do want to have memory for each one of the conversation, what we didn't have right now in this example. So I have some other stuff that I need to add to it. But I think it's going to be a very nice project that will show you how to take an idea and fastly deploy it into testing, production, whatever you're going to need it. So if you like to follow my journey over there, please think about subscribing to this channel. And if you learned something new today, please think about giving a like so other people could also benefit from this video. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next time.